welcome back to World of Tanks. My name is Bruce and today I want to compare the German Tier 8 heavy tanks, the Tiger II and the WK4502 Alpha. If you're interested in more reviews and gameplay, go to YouTube and search for World of Tanks with Bruce to get all of my videos, or click on the subscribe button. In addition to this, you can now also support me on Patreon, so feel free to follow this link and become a patron. And now let's go. Before we start with some gameplay, let me quickly introduce the armor profile of those two tanks. And I want to start with the WK4502 and compare to the gun of the Tiger II, just to have the same comparison. Now, the two tanks used to be almost the same, however then the Tiger II got buffed and now the WK4502 is significantly weaker when it comes to its armor profile. Now on the upper hull as well as on the lower hull, the tanks are fairly similar, 218, 290 millimeters down to about 207, 208, and then the lower plate 170 to 100 and let's say 80 millimeters. Now the big problem of the WK4502 is its gun mantlet, not the gun mantlet, but the plate next to the gun mantlet, which is only 100 millimeters, so effectively 185 millimeters. And this is the plate that got buffed on the Tiger II, and we'll see the result in a bit. Now the other problem is that the roof armor is only 40 millimeters, so every gun with a caliber more than 120 millimeters will be able to overmatch you and will just shoot you in your turret roof, which is very bad. Now, if you're using the gun depression of the tank, then obviously the upper hull becomes stronger. 250, 257, 59 millimeters is pretty strong for a Tier 8 tank, and you can certainly work with it. Now, one thing you have to keep in mind is that the shape of the tank right here in the front over the tracks is a little bit awkward. So if you're using your gun depression and if you're over peaking, people might just shoot you right here into this weak spot. Besides that, you can side script with the tank, but even if you're standing on an even surface like this, you still have the problem of this weak spot, plus remember the weak plate next to your gun. So this is why the armor profile of the WK4502 is relatively weak. Now if you compare this to the Tiger II, on the other hand, this plate got buffed significantly to 245 millimeters, so basically no other tank, certainly on Tier 8, will be able to penetrate this part of the turret. Plus, this upper rooftop armor has been buffed to 50 millimeters, so you need a gun with a higher caliber than 150 millimeters, sorry, in order to overmatch this plate. Now, same spiel, if you use the gun depression, then obviously the upper hull becomes significantly stronger. And yes, you also have the problem of this weak spot right here, but it is not shaped as awkwardly as on the WK45. So the armor profile overall is much stronger on the Tiger II after the buff compared to the WK4502. Alright, here we are in the first game with the WK4502 Alpha. We are in a Tier 6 matchup. And in this game, I simply want to compare the stats of those two tanks, so of the WK4502 Alpha on the left hand side and then the Tiger II on the right hand side. And as I said, those things used to have the same firepower. However, after the Tiger II got buffed, there's a significant difference. So as you can see, the DPM of the Tiger II is higher, 2166 compared to a little bit less than 2000. Plus the penetration is better, 225 compared to the 200 millimeters of the WK4502 Alpha. Plus the alpha damage also got buffed, so 360 compared to only 320. Nowadays, in my opinion, 320 alpha for a heavy tank on T8 is a little bit lackluster. But this is not where the bad news for this tank stop. This tank also has the lower shell velocity, or 950 compared to the Tiger's 1100. So overall, the firepower of the Tiger II is, in my opinion, significantly better compared to the WK4502 Alpha. So as you can see, we actually didn't get any support. The T29, the second best heavy tank in this game in our team, chose to go to the south, and so we are on our own, and this is why I'm not pushing forward, even though I am the top tier heavy tank. Now, as you can see, the gun is relatively precise. The gun handling is certainly alright. It is just a little bit weaker compared to the Tiger II. Now, when it comes to gun handling, actually both tanks are fine. However, as you can see, once again, the Tiger II is leading with a dispersion of 0.3 compared to the 0.35 dispersion of this tank. Now, the aim time is actually a bit better, 2.21 seconds compared to 2.4. However, the rest of the gun stats is where the Tiger II also is leading. So dispersion while moving and during tank traverse is better, and only in the dispersion value during turret traverse is where the VK4502 is better. Alright, so looks like the enemy team has recognized that I am basically on my own here, so they are pushing me, and now I have to play smart, trying to track shot the T26E5. Unfortunately, I get support of the heavy tank number 6, the Japanese Tiger tank, and now he's finishing him off. Very good gameplay, and as you can see, he has 2 gun marks on his tank, so he certainly knows what he is doing. Alright, can we get a shot on the Skoda T? No, unfortunately not. But so far we already made 1,300 damage, and now it is time to turn around and get some shots on the KV2. Now in this situation, you certainly want to go on a smart gameplay and not just peek around and give the KV2 the chance to shoot you. Okay, so I needed to get a snapshot on him, but he is looking towards me, and I certainly do not want to lose more hit points, because I think I will need them at the end of the game. So maybe we can get a shot on the Panther 2. Yeah, as you can see, if you fully aim in your shots, you certainly hit. The gun is relatively precise, the gun handling is good, as you would expect from a German heavy tank. It is just a little bit lackluster compared to the Tiger II. Now, if you talk about the mobility, or if you take a look at the mobility, both tanks have the same forward speed, 38 kph, kilometers, I should say, but the power to weight ratio of the VK4502 is actually much better, just because the weight is so much lower. 57 tons compared to the almost 71 tons of the Tiger II means that this tank is actually much quicker compared to its tier 8 brother. Now, the terrain resistance values, on the other hand, are a little bit lower, so this is kind of a balancing factor, but yeah, this tank is certainly faster. It is not a super fast heavy tank, but it's certainly faster than the Tiger II, and certainly the turbocharger helps out quite significantly. Now, we already talked about the hull armor. Actually, this hull armor is only 150 millimeters compared to the 160 of the Tiger II, but the upper hull is, as you just saw, almost the same. The weak spot, as I said, is the frontal part of the turret, only 185 compared to the 245 millimeters of the Tiger II. As you can see, against low tier tanks, obviously the armor works just fine. The problem starts if you are facing only tier 8 tanks, and we will see this in the next game. Now, the rest of the stats, obviously both tanks have 390 meters of view range, which is good, and both tanks, as they are heavy tanks, do not have any armor whatsoever. So, once again, in my opinion, this tank should be buffed a little bit. It should certainly have the same gun handling of the Tiger II. So if I was wargaming, I would buff the gun, giving it also 225 millimeters of penetration, also 360 of alpha damage, alongside with obviously then the better DPM, and I would also slightly buff the gun handling, the dispersion values. And besides that, I think it's fine that this tank is kind of the tank with a little bit weaker armor, but then which is a little bit faster and a little bit more mobile. So, but I actually did not understand why the Tiger II got buffed, but this tank did not receive any buff. Now, having that said, on the other hand, I do not think that this is a bad tank. I actually was pretty surprised when I played it, and I think it is a relatively good tank. It is certainly not as strong as the Tiger II, but it is certainly a good tank and certainly not a bad tank. Alright, so returning to the game, so far we made 3,300 damage, and now as we are almost one shot to enemy tanks, we certainly need to play cautiously. And let's see. Looks like the Su-130 PM is moving towards us, and we certainly have to fear this tank. Now the game is not over yet, however it doesn't look too good, and as you can see, the enemy team looks like they are in advance when it comes to HP, overall HP. Okay, too bad. I thought there was a kind of a window or a hole in the wall right here, but yeah, too bad. So I cannot support my team, and I think this is now critical for the game. So maybe the Su-130 PM has already advanced on the left hand side, so I do need to play cautiously. The Challenger is advancing, looks like. Maybe not. Ah, here you go. Okay, so maybe I can get a shot on the Su-130 PM. Here you go. Another 333. Little high roll here, nice. There you go, nice, and he's bouncing. So if you're pulling back, obviously, then the shots tend to bounce. And now I think what I want to do is, obviously the game is lost, but I want to trick him and pretend that I was moving towards the other direction. However, unfortunately, I'm spotted, and now, okay, the Scorpion is moving towards me. Tier 7 tank, hopefully he's not shooting premium ammunition. Yeah, okay, yes he is. I get one other shot, but I think his DPM is better than my one. Maybe I can ram him. No. Okay, so yeah, in the end we made 4,300 damage. I wanted to show you this game just because with this tank, as with the Tiger II, you could play aggressively if you are top tier, not as aggressively as with the Tiger II, however, still a good tank, still a solid heavy tank. I do like the fact that this tank is more mobile compared to the Tiger II, but overall, due to the difference in stats that I just showed you, the Tiger II is certainly the better tank. Yeah, and let's now jump into the next gameplay. Alright, here we are in the second game. We are spawning on Tundra in a tier 8 matchup, and as usual, let's first of all take a look at the map. Spawning on Tundra in the south, the situation usually looks like this, and with your heavy tank you have two options. You can either go to the heavy lane, which is the one lane right here, and support your heavy tanks here, or you can go to the hill and try to support your team here in order to win the hill. Now, in general, I do think that the hill is the most important position of this map, just because you have the spotting ability to basically all, let's say, this part of the map, and so I certainly recommend to do this. Now, the only thing you have to keep in mind, this is super important, there is this position right here, and so this tank gets a first shot opportunity towards the tanks which are crossing, especially the slower tanks. So if you are moving towards the hill, always turn your turret towards this position in order to reduce the chance of receiving a hit from this sneaky position right here. Alright, so we are certainly trying to support our team on the hill because, as I said, in my opinion, it is the preferred option. Now, I'm playing this tank with ventilation, with a gun rammer, and with a turbocharger because I want to make use of the better mobility compared to the Tiger II. Now, in this game, I think I did not have the upgraded engine unlocked, so this tank is actually a little bit slower compared to the fully upgraded version. Anyways, I'm turning my turret, as I said. So let's see. Fortunately, we do not receive a shot from this position, but we were spotted actually. So good on us. And then this is certainly what you should not do. Just stand in the open like the Tiger II. And by the way, the Tiger II is stock, as you could see. He had the stock turret, so not fully equipped on his side. So I want to move where the T-44-100 was situated. And fortunately, our team has already managed to win the hill. Okay, too bad. However, the enemy Progetto only managed to get a shot on our tracks, which is no problem at all. And I just want to stay here because I think he is tracking me. Maybe I can get a shot to the other side. I think blind firing this bush is always a good idea because more often than not there is a tank destroyer sitting in this bush. Now let's see, can we get a shot on the Emil 1? We might want to. Okay, I'm always trying to go for a snapshot just because I want to expose my tank as short as possible. Okay, now we just have to wait until the Emil 2 has now he has conducted his second shot. And so he's only one shot in his magazine, so he certainly only has one shot left, and so now he has shot 3 times, so this means that his magazine is empty, and maybe we can get a second shot, or a third shot actually on him, but now unfortunately he is falling back. So it is very good that we have won the hill. However, as you can see, the heavy flank is actually collapsing, which is bad. Okay. This is the 0.35 dispersion of this tank. And this is where the gun handling of the Tiger II is much better. Fortunately, this shot hits. Nice. Obviously, with shooting APCR, the Progetto 46 has no problem whatsoever of penetrating us. Not on the upper hull, nor on the turret front. But that's just how it is. Okay, so now I think we should move forward and help our team, but we still want to preserve our hit points. This is why I'm still trying to angle my tank. And now, okay, this shot was a little bit unfortunate. The gun is right now trolling me a little bit. Actually, the gun handling overall is not too bad on this tank, certainly not. But sometimes this is just RNG of World of Tanks. Sometimes the guns are just trolling you because after all it is all based on RNG. Okay, so let's see. Okay. Too bad the IS-5 moved forward and blocked our shot. I think I should move. Okay, what the crap is happening? What the crap is happening? Okay, never do such a stupid move, okay? Here you go, we can get another shot on the Progetto 46. Unfortunately, our team is dying, and I think pushing forward here is not the best. Here you go, this is the gun handling that I was talking about. Unfortunately, our team is not the best one. So far, we, on the other hand, made 1,600 damage so far. Let's now fall back into this position, because from here we should get shots on those 2 tanks, maybe. But we do have to respect the Progetto 46, which is still sitting at the back of the map, and maybe. Here you go. This is what I was waiting for, and now we have to eventually turn around if we are attacked from behind. Maybe we can kill the Progetto 46. Come on, okay. bad luck right here. But that was actually a very difficult shot, maybe, as he's not moving. Okay. Once again, RNG is not on our side in this game, as it looks like. Maybe we can kill the projectile like this. Wow. Wow. Okay, so now you might think that the gun handling is actually bad, but let me tell you, it is not as bad as it is in this game. 9 to 10, 2000 damage on our side, and now we have to turn around. As you can see, okay, that was actually not a good trade, but I wanted to make pressure, but the trade was certainly not good. And now I need to turn around, and maybe I can... Okay, he's falling back, the AMX, so I can once again concentrate on the Progetto, no, on the Carnarvon. Okay, I need to take out this tank, and now have a little bit of luck. Here you go, nice. So I can just, here you go, nice, take him out. I think he was a little bit asleep, and now I have to turn around and get a shot on the AMX. So this tank is certainly not as sluggish as the Tiger II. However, it is not a, I would say it's not a renegade either. So in my opinion, this tank needs a little bit of love from Wargaming. And if I was Wargaming, I would just buff the gun and bring it to the level of the Tiger II. I think this would pretty much help the tank. In addition to this, I would also buff the frontal armor plate of the turret and give it the same strength as the Tiger II. So those little buffs would bring this tank to another level, and would make it more competitive. Don't get me wrong, once again, it is a competitive tank. However, compared to the Tiger I, which has an insanely strong armor, it is a little bit lackluster. Okay, so how can we win this game? I think the Zu-130 needs to decap, however it is a one-shot. Nice, fortunately we bounce, so we can take him out. 2700 damage is a good result in my opinion. And now, as the Su-130 PM actually does not do anything, I think we might have to decap. Let's see, okay. Yeah, okay. Okay, I think yeah, nice. In the end, we win the game, and we made 2700 damage in a tier 8 match, which is, in my opinion, a good result. And yeah, overall, I pretty much like the tank. It is not the most competitive tank, or not the best tank. It is certainly not, I would say it's not above average. It's an average tank. It is not a below average tank. I would give it a little love, talking about the firepower and also the armor profile, as I just said. But besides this, it is actually fun to play, and some nice alternative to the more sluggish, more heavily armored heavy tanks. Alright, third game, this time with the almighty Tiger II. We are spawning on Mannerheim line, once again in a tier 8 matchup, and as usual, let's first of all take a look at the map. Spawning on Mannerheim line in the south, the situation usually looks like this, and with the heavy tank, in my opinion, you should try to support the heavy flank, which is right here. Now, in my opinion, pushing all the way up to this position is too aggressive, because the enemy team does have an advantage to win this part of the map, because they have access right here, and they can shoot from this position and then kill you, and you have no cover in right here, but they can move back into cover while they are facing you. So instead of pushing up to this position, I would go into this little ditch here, because from here you can play more or less hull down and take all those tanks under fire, which are situated up on the top right here. The only thing you have to take into your consideration is that the enemy team, the enemy tank destroyers, will be able to shoot at you once you are spotted, let's say by a tank which is right here. Alright, so this is exactly where we are going to go. Now, unfortunately, the Tiger II is not the fastest tank, and I'm not playing this tank with a turbocharger. Instead, I kind of use the classic setup, vertical stabilizer, gun rammer, and ventilation. And so we'll see how it goes. Actually, as you can see, I was wrong. I used to play this tank with vertical stabilizer, but I got rid of the vertical stabilizer and put a turbocharger on it. I think it's up to you. Both is fine. The gun handling of the tank is actually pretty nice, even without any equipment. And this is the ditch where I was talking about. And from this ditch, you can play hull down, and you only have to expose a little bit of your tank. And as the turret is so insanely strong for a tier A tank, you can really make use of this strong armor and play hull down. So we always have to play a little bit cautiously due to the fact that, here you go, that we might get spotted, and then artillery as well as the Scorpion might take shots on us. But so far this is a very good position. The other benefit about this position is that you cannot get pushed as easily. If you're moving forward, let's make the minimap a little bit bigger. So if you are pushing towards this position, you can get pushed out of this position by the enemy tanks. But right here you cannot get pushed out, because the only possibility is that, or there are two possibilities for the enemy. The one is to advance right here, but they will be exposed to all of our TDs right here. And then the second possibility is to move right here, but this is extremely dangerously, and if you have to pay so much caution to not get drowned, and so this is also not a good way of pushing you in this position out. So this is actually why I prefer this position over pushing aggressively right here. And as you can see, slowly but steadily we will get our damage and we will reduce the hit points of the enemy team. So the T-42 is also, this is exactly what I was talking about. Now we want to track him, nice, and so he will be, here you go. So this is exactly what I was talking about. This position is extremely tough to dig out. And looks like there's no enemy tank right here, so this is so we will not get spotted that easily. However, obviously as soon as we peek out and face those tanks, obviously they will spot us as well. As you can see, the 112 is advancing. In my opinion, not the best idea. Okay, this is what I was talking about earlier. The crossfire possibility of the tank destroyers on the C8 position. Let's see. But so far we made 2,300 damage, which is nice. And then the only tank which could get a shot on us was the Scorpion. As you can see, even the M3Y bounces its shot. It's 6-1, so the game is won almost. At least I assume, and so it's time to move forward. Now this is obviously where the VK4502 Alpha is better, because it has better mobility, and obviously if the game is quick, then your mobility just helps you out to get somewhat additional damage. This is obviously a drawback for the more heavily armored tanks, but if you're playing in the Tiger, you can play much more aggressively due to the superior armor compared to the VK4502. Yeah, the Tiger is very slow, as you can see. It is very, very fun to play if you're in a top tier situation. If you're playing against tier 6 tanks, you just have to press the W key and just keep moving forward and rip apart all your enemies. This is very, very fun. But this tank can also compete against can certainly stand up in a tier 8 matchup, and as you can see, the gun is just a bit more precise compared to the VK4502 Alpha. So can we get another shot on the Scorpion? I certainly do not want to. Here you go. Nice. Okay, only at least 174 damage, so 2.9k damage on our side. In my opinion, another good result, and yep, the game is won. I don't know if we can get another shot, certainly not on the Scorpion, but maybe on the G-Saw. No. Alright, 2,900 damage. I think you got the point. The Tiger 2 is, in my opinion, the better tank. It would be closer if the VK4502 had the same gun stats with just a bit more armor on the turret, then the choice would be actually more difficult. I prefer the Tiger 2 because it is the better tank. On the other hand, I do like the VK4502 as well due to its mobility, and I think both tanks are pretty good. And yeah, in the end, the only thing I want to talk about as well is a little bit of a tech tree comparison. So let's take a look at the tech trees. So if we compare both tech trees, both start with a heavy tank on tier 6, and actually both tanks are pretty similar. The VK3001P is faster compared to the VK3601H. Both have no armor and both have a good gun with, I think, the exactly same gun handling. Now when it comes to tier 7, the Tiger 1 is, in my opinion, a bit better compared to the Tiger P, just because this tank, just like its brother on tier 8, got buffed. Now this tank does not have any armor. This tank actually does have quite some armor. It is very tough to play, very difficult. It has lots of weak spots that you have to hide with smart gameplay, but you can make use of your armor. The problem is that this tank got buffed. The gun is now much better compared to the gun of the Tiger P, and so all in all the Tiger 1 is certainly better compared to the Tiger P, and this is basically the same drawback as it is on tier 8. So yeah, this line got buffed by Wargaming, this line did not get buffed, and so in my opinion those are certainly the better tanks in the game as it is right now. Alright guys, that was it for today with my little comparison of the two German tier 8 heavy tanks in the game. What do you think about those two tanks? Do you like them? Which one do you prefer? Just leave a comment in the comment section down below. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. If you hated it, give it a thumbs down. Consider subscribing to my channel, and I see you next time in another World of Tanks video.